Alright, YouTube, a major victory has been scored for those of us who don't want to take other people's rights away and see children suffer. In California, it's called reparative therapy, or gay conversion therapy, has finally been banned. For those of us who support gay rights, it's a big win, because of course now these idiot, bigoted Bible thumpers who don't even have degrees in psychology, who call themselves therapists, even though most of them are just wastes of time who don't want to get a real job, they set up shop in these little rural areas and they say, well, is your child gay? Come here, we'll fix them. And of course it doesn't work. Anyone with a reasonable intelligence knows that it's not going to work. It's just wishful thinking on the part of stupid parents who used to trot their children to these things so that they could be quote-unquote repaired. What would happen if I set up Christian conversion therapy here in Vermont? What if I set up shop and said, I can cure your child of being a Christian. I can turn them into a good, moral, decent atheist. And trust me, I have that ability, just like there are millions of other atheists who could easily reason with a Christian child and convert them to what fundamentalists would call the dark side. They'd be up in arms. Well, they're interfering with our religious beliefs. It's terrible. You can't take Christianity away from me. I'll have nothing. I only know how to read the Bible. I can't read anything else because I'm so fucking illiterate. It's quackery. It's stupidity. It's ridiculous. It's nonsense. And legitimate psychologists and psychiatrists, those who actually bothered to go to school to learn about, the psyche and stuff. Not that I trust everything that they say. For instance, they still peddle Ritalin to kids like they're M&Ms and watch them gobble them down to become brainwashed zombies. But for the most part, it's good, sound science. A little bit ethnocentric sometimes, but it's relatively sound, and it's getting better over time, and we've seen that happen. The problem is the people who are peddling this, reparative therapy, which is just a family-friendly term for will indoctrinate your child into fundamentalist values, these people don't offer anything to society. They're useless. They don't know how to do a real job. They don't have the physical strength to go out and work in a coal mine or whatever. They're not smart enough to go to college. They don't have enough patience to flip burgers even. Hopefully these people will become unemployed bums so they can do what all the other fundamentalist bums do, like the priests do, and beg for money. Because really a church is just a place where they beg for money anyway and tell you who to vote for. And they should lose their tax-exempt status too. But these idiot so-called therapists, they were all whining, oh, well, we won't be able to repair these terrible gay children. They're suffering so much. They're suffering because society tells them that somehow they're lesser because they're gay. I myself, I'm not gay, but I stand with them 100% because, look, these are children. They're making their own decisions. Why should the parents be able to drag them to therapy just because they're homosexual or bisexual or, questioning in some way? Why should the parents have that right? Where are their own personal civil rights? Just because they're under 18, they don't have the right to decline therapy that's been completely debunked? That's like saying that if the parents wanted to bring their 17-year-old to an ayahuasca ritual down in South America so they could drink DMT and see the machine elves, you better believe your sweet ass the government would say, no, this isn't acceptable behavior. But because, it's Christian in nature, it's okay. Or what if, Muslim family wanted to bring their kid there to indoctrinate them in a madrasa? We'd probably crack down on that too. But again, because it's funded by the Protestant Church, Sieg Heil Jesus, it's somehow okay. These people are living in Dark Age delusion. They say, oh, I see the light of Jesus. You don't have any light whatsoever. You're in complete darkness. You're completely ignorant about the world. You don't know how to read a book other than the Bible, which you only memorize the verses that you like. The ones about judging others and being a bigoted asshole, you remember those. They stick in your mind like they were made of super glue. But the parts about Jesus saying, "Don't judge others," well, I'll conveniently forget those so that I can keep up the debate and live in this wonderful, glorious Christian nation where we oppress with boot heels anyone who disagrees with us. It's complete and utter nonsense. Thankfully, and here's the big thankful point that I really want to share with other people, the Hispanic population is growing, but the Hispanic Catholics are mostly liberals. They're Democrats. It's going to be hilarious in a few decades when the Deep South starts getting encroached upon by these groups that are more liberal in their thinking. It will be hilarious. The Protestants are already starting to lose southern Texas. Texas was the most solid red state, and it's starting to move towards swing status. Arizona, you see right now, Romney's only 10 points ahead in Arizona. It's getting there. New Mexico, that's a blue state now. Colorado, Southern California is deluged by liberals. Nevada, all these wonderful places, even Florida. So you see the redneck Protestant bigot racists who think that premarital sex is wrong unless it's with your cousin or brother or sister are slowly losing ground, literal geographic ground. The edges of the Bible Belt, I've pointed this out on a blog post, they're thinning. The Bible Belt used to be 5 or 6 counties wider in any direction back in the 50s. The Bible Belt is slowly shrinking. As it shrinks and as certain rural areas become more industrialized, we're going to see a move away from this Iron Age nonsense. And I'll even give credit to the Catholic Church, for while the Vatican is a bunch of perverted idiots led by a Nazi youth named Pope Ratzinger, appropriately, the Catholic lay people, by and large, are good, solid liberals that are not assholes, and that do believe in things like pro-choice, pro-equality of marriage, who believe that you should be able to take the birth control pill, which is something the Vatican certainly does not believe in. So I'll give them begrudging credit, even though they're Christians. They're more decent Christians than the stupid Protestants living in places like Kentucky or Georgia or Louisiana, who are by and large a bunch of assholes. And I've been in the Deep South. They're assholes. By and large, these people living there. Now, of course, there are exceptions. There are, regular, good, normal, moral people living there too, but they're outnumbered by the bigoted Bible thumpers. But this is a big thing, and hopefully it goes nationwide. Now, here in Vermont, of course, most liberal state, Obama's leading by a bigger margin here, by the way, than in any other state other than D.C., which is not really a state. 62 to 25 in favor of Obama, so I don't think he needs to stop in for a campaign drive anytime soon, although it'd be cool to see him here. He was at UVM before, but I didn't get to see that, unfortunately. But I would like to see this in Vermont. I'd like to see it in all the blue states and swing states where you've got a chance of passing it through. Of course, Mississippi loves to oppress gay people, just as though they like to oppress Hispanics and black people and women and non-Christians of all sorts, atheists especially. It's just a fun time to live in the United States. It's fun to see the fundamentalists losing, because it looked like they were going to win in the late 70s, early 80s, but then they quickly tanked, and all the televangelists sort of went off snorting cocaine and meth and sucking gay hookers' dicks, and they sort of lost credit. I keep expecting Billy Graham to come out and say he's got like 5 girlfriends. I keep expecting Charles Stanley to come out and say he had an orgy with the ghost of Marilyn Monroe and like a half dozen Rockettes. That's just what you have come to expect from these idiots that live the double life, this hypocritical lie that they're holy rollers on the outside, and then you follow them home and they're snorting cocaine, like Ted Haggart there, or any of these idiots. All they want is money, and that money is completely corrupting them. Once they get the money, they just become normal people, and in fact they go in the other direction. They become more corrupt than any playboy you could possibly think of. I could wear like the leather suit and have the rape stash and go out and bang a new chick every night and snort cocaine off of a hooker's chest. I would still be a more respectable person than some of these people. That's rather sad. And you see the same thing, and the most fun of all really quickly. If you take a poll of people who are under like 25, like something like 2/3 of them are pro-gay marriage, pro-choice, pro-contraception. They consider themselves liberal atheists. It's going to be great as the older generations start dying off, because my generation and the one immediately after my generation, we're infinitely better off than the previous generations. Now, of course, as we grow older, some will move towards the conservative, bigoted side, just out of habit. But it's slow. The tide of idiocy is slowly washing away. It's slowly going the other way and draining the lake, so to speak. It's going to be great when all of the old, bigoted, old guard, crazed neocons are dead. You know, when the Reagan youth dies off, the world will be a much better place. Thankfully, they're still snorting the same cocaine they did in the 80s. A lot of them are dying of heart attacks lately. I can't wait. It's like the Bushes. I can't wait till they die. When they kick the bucket, it's going to be hilarious. When Ann Coulter, you know, kills herself because Obama wins a second term or something, it's going to be the most hilarious thing I ever saw. Rush Limbaugh overdoses on his painkillers that he was addicted to for so long. You know, Sean Hannity gets drunk, gets into a fight with some black dude, and, you know, gets his nose punched into his skull. It's going to be hilarious. These people live self-destructive, bigoted, ignorant lives, and it's great to see them slowly fading away, because that's a page of American history nobody is going to want to read in the future. Peace out.